Languagehacker here. Been away for a few days, watched the World Championship, and now I'm back with some videos. And the first one we're going to do is talk about the patch that just came out. Now that Worlds is over, the team felt comfortable shipping a patch. And there's quite a few changes here, so we got a lot to talk about, to discuss what the meta is going to look like, what's getting bad, what's getting better, and so on and so forth. So let's hop into the analysis. Okay, aptly visioned here. There's a Trog. First up, alignments, 7 to 8 mana. Good, I like it. Combo decks are really busted, and Druid in particular does way too much stuff post alignment. It's crazy that it's 7 mana. It's still just so insane, and like short of getting completely zerged down by an aggro deck, Druid just finds a way to get stuff done. So I think bumping it up to 8 mana is good. Slows the game down a bit more, gives other decks a chance to try and shut the Druid out of the game before the alignment thing happens, and then you still have the super fun combo turn if you get the alignment off. Next up, Bannerman. It's a 3 mana 2/1 now instead of a 3 mana 2/2. Makes some sense. Paladin was actually okay against some of the combo decks, but with the combo decks getting nerfed, as you'll see with the next few cards as well, Paladin, I imagine, will become more and more popular, even with the nerf to Trog that we'll cover in a few cards below. So I do think that this is fine. Like, Paladin's been pretty good for a long time, not necessarily super top tier, but I think with the changes that we're going to be going over, Paladin would have become a bit stronger, and because of that, they're preemptively, I guess, nerfing Bannerman, which makes sense. Bannerman was a really good card. Octobot. Finally, after how long I've been yelling and screaming that we should change this card, they finally changed it to 3 mana. Efficient Octobot has been a little too efficient. We're slowing it down as part of the general goal of toning down the power level combo strategies. I think at 3 mana, this is still too good. I think this card needs to be deleted. Like, just kill it. Just get rid of it. I'm glad that they changed it. I don't think this changes much. Rogue was, like, Garrett Rogue was still by far basically the best combo deck. A lot of the other combo decks are getting hit as well. So this being the only change to Garrett Rogue just means that the combo is going to be very slightly slower, but still incredibly insane. So this seems like not enough of a nerf. I'm glad that they changed it. I'm sure they're going to keep an eye on it. And I think I've seen on Twitter, Gallon was saying that we're tweaking it a little bit. We're going to see how it feels after, and then we'll decide if anything else needs to be adjusted. So I'm glad that they're going to keep an eye on it, but it's baffling to me that we've kept it at 2 mana for this long, and I think 1 mana is not going to be enough, but whatever. We'll see. I'm glad they're changing it at least. Next up, Snowfall Guardian. 6 mana. Makes sense. Free Shaman's kind of annoying, and it's just super easy to pair this with Brilliant Macaw and just lock out players from the game. Now, with combo being gone, this might get a bit more problematic, even at 6 mana, because we're going to be, hopefully, working on board-centric decks. And because of that, the Snowfall Guardian might just end up being really, really, really powerful, especially with the Macaws. So changing it to 6 mana seems nice. It's not really a preemptive nerf, because Snowfall Guardian is just a really good card right now anyways. But hopefully it will not get out of control if we move on to a tempo meta. Next up, Warlock's healing is getting a hit. Touch of the Nathrazim now heals 3, down from 4. Very minor change here. I don't know how impactful this is going to be. This is going to be like really, really tiny. That being said, they're also changing Rod to 5 mana, so this is kind of not a lot of a change, like not a big change, but changing Mithril Rod to 5 mana is very, very big. Owl Warlock is going to be super hard to work with now. It's already rough when you spend 4 mana on a Rod and then you get Viper, but having it at 5 mana, it's just oof, it's just super, super slow. So this probably makes Owl Warlock substantially worse. This does as well, but regardless of Owl Lock, we also saw Quest Warlock at Worlds, and Quest Warlock is performing pretty well still. So this is a little slap on the wrist to Quest Lock, and I imagine we'll be seeing more Quest Lock pop up. Just because the deck's still solid and not too much got nerfed. Even with this change, I don't think it changes too much. You lose a tiny bit of health, but there's not really that many burn decks in the meta, so I don't think this tiny bump will matter. I'm not sure how else they could have really changed it, though. Maybe this will be fine. Just something to note. Happy with the Mithril Rod change. Kind of sucks because it's just really cool doing stuff with Mithril Rod, but let me compare this for you. Rune Mythler Rod is 2 Emperor ticks, right? And they've changed it twice in the span of a couple of expansions. Octobot has been around for almost a full year, and they've just now changed it by 1 mana. And this, you can tech against Rod. You can't tech against Octobot. Just to give you a sense of how much I hate Octobot and how broken it is. And it's not just me ranting that, ooh, hackers played against one too many Garrett Rogues. No, this card is fucking broken, and this needs to be killed. One step at a time. First we go to 3 mana, next we'll go to 4. Next up, Deckhand. 1 mana, 2/1. Pirate Warrior is going to be pretty popular still. I mean, the deck hasn't really gained much with the expansion, but it's still just really solid with combo decks slowing down. I imagine Pirate Warrior is still going to be popular, and because of that, they're preemptively nerfing Deckhand. Or maybe not even preemptively, maybe they're just nerfing Deckhand because it's just really good right now. I like this. The effect is still pretty decent. Changing it to 1 mana 2/1 is actually a huge nerf because a lot of ping classes can now just deal with this. But it was kind of rough getting snowballed against a couple of these, against the Pirate Warrior when you're any class really, but at least now ping classes will have a bit of an easier time dealing with it, and even non-ping classes. Warlock has Coil, you know, you'll find stuff. Paladin has Broom, or I don't know if they're running Penflingers or whatnot. Good change, I like it. Iron Deep Trog. After your opponent casts a spell, summon another Iron Deep Trog. Before it was summon a copy of this, which means it will no longer retain buffs. It'll just spawn extra 1/2, which I think is a very, very big deal. It reduces the power level of Libram Paladin, Buff Paladin, Face Hunter, technically like aggressive Druids if they were going to run Trogs as well. So I think this is a pretty aggressive change. Makes sense though with them trying to target combo decks in general. You don't then want Trog in every single deck because you want to shut out every other spell deck now too. It's still good to have an effect like this so that you slow down spell decks because you know they don't want to cast a bunch of spells, but at the same time I don't think you want the game revolving around a 1 mana card just winning the game because you had it on turn 1 and then followed it up with a buff. So I like that they've changed this as well as all the combo stuff we've talked about. Finally, Artifice are going to 3 mana 2/5. Health doesn't matter too much. Actually, it does matter. This means that Moarg, Immolation Aura, Moarg School Spirits will no longer kill the Moarg, which means that there will be a threat lift up on the board for your opponent to deal with, which could further disrupt their turns. But the important part here is that it's going to 3 mana, and because of that, it's going to be harder for things like OTK Demon Hunter to do full combos or just clear the board in general. And same thing with Owl TK Warlock, with both the Rod, Touch, and now this getting changed as well. The consistency in power level is going to go down just because of how much more they'll have to do to remove your stuff. Big fan of a lot of these changes. I feel like we've been in a combo meta for a little bit too long, and they're hitting a lot of, I'd say, pretty important cards: Rod, Alignments, Octobots, and Artificer, and that should knock most of the combo decks down a little bit, which I really like. We'll see how the meta is developing. I haven't been around since the patch was launched. But actually, there's a couple more. JK. These are buffs, though. Anyways, we'll see how the meta is developing, but I imagine some of these changes might lend to the meta we'll be seeing. Tavish's Hero Power now costs 2. Doesn't matter. Hero cards still poop. Grey Sage Parrot. It goes to 6 mana 4/5. The stats on this don't matter too much. The big, I mean, they matter somewhat, but the fact that this is 6 mana down from 8 is absolutely massive. The problem with playing an 8 mana parrot is that, spoiler, it costs 8 mana. So the fact that it's 6 mana and you can follow this, you can follow up like an Arcane Overflow on 5 into this without, you know, having to wait till 8 mana, which is actually much more acceptable. And I think we'll actually start seeing Grey Sage Parrots in decks now, which is really good. Very nice change. They completely, I don't want to say they missed the mark making it 8 mana, but the fact that we've been in a combo meta and the fact that the meta is just kind of aggressive and in how you're dying, it was just never getting played in 8 mana. Even after these changes, 8 mana would be too slow. So I'm glad that they're changing this, mixing it up a little bit. Good. Nice seeing some buffs as well as nerfs. Dawngrasp being changed to 7 mana. This card was played like so little because it was just not great. Yeah, it's 7 mana now. And on top of that, the new hero power starts off as 2 damage, as a 2 damage ping instead of the 1 damage ping, with the same effect. On-will kill adds 2 damage to the hero power permanently. Furthermore, Wildfire gets buffed as well. It's a little more tiny of a buff, because the way it was worded before is increase the damage of your hero power by 1, and now it says increase the damage of your hero power by 1 this game, which takes into account changing heroes. When you changed heroes before in hero powers, it would not retain the Wildfire buff that you had gotten if you had played Wildfire prior to changing heroes. So now if you play Wildfire, your hero power does 2, and then once you go to Dawn Grasp, your hero gets changed to 2, and then it also retains the Wildfire buff, so it'll be 3 damage if you have played one Wildfire after you play Magister Dawn Grasp, which I think is really good. This is really struggling to kind of see play. Obviously, there's some big spell mages hanging around, but it's not really a powerful deck, and the card itself was also not doing too well, I believe. So having this change actually is pretty good, because Wildfire Mage, while it wasn't playable exactly before the patch, I think some people were tinkering with some lists, and I think we're getting close to a playable and maybe competitive deck as well. I know Orange has been cooking some stuff up while I've been away for the past couple days. So with the Wildfire buff and the change to Dawn Grasp, I imagine that we'll be seeing, maybe even Grey Sage Parrot, maybe you put all 3 of these in the same deck. We'll hopefully be seeing some Mage in the meta. That isn't Mozaki Mage, by the way. Actually, that's a fair point. Mozaki Mage hasn't been touched at all, so Mozaki Mage might still end up being pretty aggressive as a combo deck. Anyways, I'm glad overall with a lot of stuff that they've changed here. I do think that some other stuff needs to be changed. I think Mozaki is going to take off if nothing's there to keep it in check. And I still think Garrett Rogue is too strong and you should kill Octobot. Or Contact. I'm not picky. Anyways, I'm excited to try out some new decks now that I'm back. Wildfire Mage is definitely on the menu, and we'll see what else the meta comes up with. Keep an eye out. I'm going to be posting another video on the esports changes that were announced a few days ago. But until then, happy climbing, and I'll see you guys next time.